Academy Award-winning filmmaker Taika Waititi has just pretty much confirmed that he's not going to be directing Thor 5 if and when it does eventually come out. Now, there's been speculation about that going around for a little bit. Recently, there was a report that came out that said Marvel is actually developing Thor 5 right now, and they are currently looking for a director. Well, that, of course, would automatically mean that Taika wasn't going to be it. And Taika right now seems to have confirmed at least that much of the report. This comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who said this. Taika Waititi told Business Insider that he won't be involved in a fifth Thor movie, at least if it's happening anytime in the next 6 years or so. He said, I know that I won't be involved. I'm going to concentrate on these other films that I have signed on for, because he's got about 3 or 4 projects coming out, including a supposed Star Wars project he's working on. So that's 6 or 7 years gone. But I love Marvel. I love working with them. I love Chris. I would never feel like they are cheating on me, what Waititi added, noting that he'll have no ill will if Marvel goes ahead and hires another writer or director for a fifth Thor movie. We're in an open relationship, and it's like, if they want to see other people, I'm happy for that. I'd still get back into bed with them one day. Wonderful. I love that answer, by the way. I love Taika Waititi so much. Listen, Taika Waititi is just simply one of the most fantastic storytellers out there today. Going back to Hunt for the Wilder People, or whether you're talking about obviously his incredible work on What We Do in the Shadows. Thor Ragnarok, I think, is a top 10 greatest comic book movie ever made. Jojo Rabbit is honestly one of my favorite films of the past 10 years. Jojo Rabbit is just phenomenal. Now, didn't love Thor Love and Thunder. And I unfortunately I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like Next Goal Wins. But those things aside, also, by the way, his work on Mandalorian, he was incredible at. He's just a fantastic storyteller. And he's had the odd bad day at the office, sure. But when you stack up the stuff that he's made that is incredible versus, I would suggest, the 2 things that maybe didn't live up to his standards, I'll take Taika Waititi any day of the week. That being said, and I believe I said this when the first rumor came out that maybe they're looking for another director. If they were to announce that Taika was coming back to direct Thor 5, I would be perfectly good with it. Because again, he's a remarkable storyteller. And I would just believe that he would have taken some lessons from the things that didn't work in Thor Love and Thunder, and maybe swung the pendulum back a little bit more towards his Thor Ragnarok and stuff like that. But that being said, so while I'd be totally happy if they did announce that he was going to come back and do 5, I actually think it's a good thing for him and for the character to move on. Listen, Thor is a character that needs to be reinvented a little bit every once in a while, just to keep Chris Hemsworth invested and interested. You know, he talked a lot about, before Thor Ragnarok, Chris Hemsworth said he was basically getting bored of playing the character. And then Taika Waititi came in, breathed a whole new dimension into the character for Thor Ragnarok, and Chris said he fell in love with playing Thor again. Now, I personally believe that in Thor Love and Thunder, they swung the pendulum too far one way and went too far into the silly. It still had its moments, but too far in the silly. I think they need to work on bringing that back. But, listen, he's got a ton of stuff that he's working on. I just think he's a great visionary storyteller. He's an Academy Award winner. And I love the fact that we're going to get more from him. But if it's not Thor 5, I'm perfectly good with that. It would be nice to see another, perspective, somebody else sitting in that director's chair, to see what they can bring us at this point with this character. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Guys, the holidays are right around the corner, and HelloFresh can help take the stress out of dinner by delivering everything you need to cook up tasty meals right to your door, saving you tons of time. We all know the holidays can can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. I've told you guys many times before that Ann and I, being working professionals, often would struggle when it comes to dinner time, having time to put something that tastes good and is healthy for us in front of us. Well, HelloFresh, with their great delivery, pre-portioned ingredients, easy to follow instructions, has made dinner time a fun time. So go to HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree and use the code CampeaFree for breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree with the code CampeaFree. Anyway, Chris, you heard Taika Waititi's comments. We've discussed before that maybe he would or wouldn't come back. What do you think about what he said and the idea of somebody else directing another Thor installment?
First of all, his comments, they make sense. And they make sense for him and what he wants to do. He's gone on record so many times talking about how he's at a stage in his career where all he wants to do is make the kind of movies that he wants to make with the people he wants to make them with. Saying, I just want to tell stories that I like with my friends. It's as simple as that. And I think when you work for a big studio like Marvel, and I do think they let him have a very long leash for Thor, you still have certain beats you have to hit. You still have certain things you have to do, certain people you bring to the fold, certain folks you're working with that maybe you don't have full say over. And I don't think that's the kind of director he is. I think he wants to do his own kind of wacky, weird stuff. And we've seen great things from him, right? What We Do in Shadows, Jojo Rabbit, Wilder People, all kinds of stuff. I still haven't seen Last Goal Wins. I'm optimistic. I think I might like it still, despite what you've said about it.
It has its upside. Yeah. It does. It has its upside. I
like a charming underdog story. I feel like I'll dig it.
It's definitely that.
But when it comes to Thor, I honestly am more interested to hear what you have to say, Jonathan, because I loved Ragnarok. I despised Love and Thunder. And so for me, it was, yes, please move on. You did a fine job on that one. I don't like this. I know not everything is made for me, but this was not my cup of tea. And I think we got too wacky. But for somebody who enjoyed it, how do you feel about it, though?
Oh, thanks for putting me on the spot.
I know. No.
I also like Quantum Mania.
Oh,
I didn't love it.
dang.
I didn't love it.
Oh, dang.
I
Okay.
didn't love it.
Did you like Marvels?
I was entertained by it. I haven't seen Marvels yet.
Okay, I liked Marvels.
Yeah. But I think sometimes people run with my like Quantum Mania thing. It's like, I'm not saying I loved it. I just said I liked it. I didn't think it was terrible.
Okay.
Oh, you're not, by the way, there were a bunch of people who liked Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'm not one of them, but there are a bunch.
But I know, I mean, look, I too also feel like there was a few, he went a little far with like a joke. Mm-hmm. You can make a joke where his Stormbreaker is jealous of him.
Oh, I liked that.
Like when it like turns at him and looks at him, whatever, I get it. But then he kind of like drove it into the ground.
Yeah. They told the joke 4 or 5 times.
And then when he it got to the point where he's like pouring his beer on it, I'm like, come on, the thing isn't gonna drink beer by you. You know what I mean? Like it was just sort of like that. They drove things home a little too much. Mm-hmm. But even beyond that, I think one of the main issues though was gore. It was like that could have been a meteor, and you had
Bale, Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher.
Like, devoured that role.
And I know that I put the expectation way too high on that. I was in here quoting the comics. Yeah. I was ready to be baptized in the blood of the gods.
But the story
intense.
itself, I enjoyed. Yeah. And I was entertained throughout. There was just a few times where like the bow like thing. It's like, this is really funny with all the gods, and then you push it too far with the bow.
That was, I've always said that one shot kind of epitomized the movie, right? Like you just said so perfectly. Like they would have a joke that could work, but then he would take it, even for him, too far. All these wild different gods, and then you have Bao, the god of dumplings. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like that's taking it too far. I don't care what anybody says. I love the goats.
Oh, I love the goats.
I don't care what anybody says.
Well, and Zeus alone.
I loved Zeus. I love the goats,
and I just love the storyline too. It's just like it's fine. I like the story. I liked his relationship with Love and all that, and how that like evolved.
Oh, she was adorable. And yeah, I liked her.
But I do feel like if he was going to go even further into madness, then
that's the thing. If they were to announce that he was going to come back and do another,
you think he would evolve and learn?
I would need to also hear him say, hey, and we picked up some lessons doing Thor, Love and Thunder. And like they needed to just rein that in because a lot of what he did in Thor Ragnarok, which is absolutely brilliant, he did in Thor, Love and Thunder. It's just like you said, he just then pushed it 2 or 3 steps further, and they needed to rein that back.
I mean,
in.
if Ragnarok isn't in my top 3, it's in my top 5 Marvel MCU films.
Yeah, it's glorious, but yeah. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.